Well, good morning. Hey, Jesus is Lord. Hey, the word works, but you got to work it. Now, Hebrews 11:3 says that we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. Now, notice the person there that he's talking about is we, me, you. We should give the more earnest heed to the things that we have learned. Now, you know Romans 10:17 says, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. It does not say that faith came by having heard and you ain't got to hear it no more. I have to be very cautious because I preach the word. I minister the word. And sometimes I think, well, you know, I've been going to these conventions for 25, 30 years or 40 years, I guess. And so I don't have to plant the seed of the word anymore. If you don't plant seed this year for a harvest, you're not going to have a harvest this year. You know, I've told you this story a lot about my dad planted a garden, but then he quit and he didn't have a harvest anymore. Let's go back to that over there in Hebrews where it says you ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which you have heard, lest at any time they shall slip. Now that phrase there, they shall slip, means to, let me show this to you, leak out like a bucket. You know, you got a little bucket here with holes in the bottom of it, small holes. Well, and you're putting water in that bucket, but it's constantly leaking out the bottom. Well, it says you got to give the more earnest heed, or in other words, you got to study to show thyself approved. And notice it doesn't say study one time to show yourself as approved unto God. You got to study every day. Faith comes, that's a regular progressive tense. It's coming. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, but it doesn't come by hearing it one time and then you don't ever got to hear it again. Now, one of my spiritual fathers years ago, I remember saying, did you go to hear so-and-so at this meeting? No, I don't do that anymore. Well, or, you know, so-and-so's coming to town, you're going to go to the meeting? No, I don't do that anymore. And it got to where he wouldn't go hear the word. Well, the word began to slip out, and he didn't know it until the word wasn't producing in his life, until his life really became kind of miserable, and his family fell apart, his ministry fell apart. Hey, listen. You know, I'm older than most of you, okay? I've been planting the seed of the word for 40 years, okay? I mean, I've been in the ministry for 50 years, right at 50 years, but I still have to go pick up my Bible and plant the seed of the word of God so that I have faith for today, not faith for yesterday. And if I'm going to have faith for tomorrow, I better be planting the seed of the word of God today. It only comes that way. So make sure that you're getting the word on it and not what you just remembered, because in case you didn't know it, remembrance is not enough to get the job done. Hey, I got to go. You remember all day the power's in the word. Jesus is Lord. Thank God the word works.